up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you were Sean Diddy Combs, there is so much going on in the jury selection. We have the inside read on who are the jurors that are moving forward and who got denied and why. And let me tell you something. People are saying that it's not looking good with Diddy, but Mark Agnifilio thought he pulled out an ace card and got shut down. Y'all, let's get into this, okay? Let's start with the jurors that are passing through to the last stage. Jury selection is expected to last all the way from like maybe Thursday, maybe even into Friday, but by Friday, the jury will be 100 selected. What do they need? They need 12 people, and they need about 6 to 9 alternates. The alternates are the ones that sit on the bench. In case any of the jurors go crazy, have a medical emergency, maybe they get caught doing something illegal, the alternate juries sit in the back. And well, they sit right there and they listen, but they don't have, and they listen and get evidence shared with them, just like the real jurors, but they do not have a vote unless somebody drops out. In a trial this big, you need alternate jurors. They're gonna have 6 to 9 alternate jurors. Okay, but let's get into the jurors that actually made it through, because it is actually, yeah, it's a, I think you're gonna be surprised. Okay, so first ones, okay? There are 7 jurors moving forward. There's a former Bronx juror. Now, this person's from the Bronx. They raised no concerns with the prosecution or the defense. They were cleared to say. Now, Diddy and Mark Garrigus thinks that if they can get people from the Bronx, that they will be more sympathetic to Diddy. I don't know about that. First of all, if anybody knows anything about the Bronx, there are 2 Bronxes. There are the boogie down Bronx, and then there's the part of the Bronx where if you pull up in a nice car, they automatically think you're a drug dealer because they never saw a black person in their neighborhood before. Again, New York Tower tells you know what I'm talking about. There are 2 Bronx. However, they raised no objections from either side. Diddy thinks it's a win, and Diddy sees this person as being able to see. I think it's an oversight on Mark Agnifilio's mind that he thinks that just because somebody's from, maybe even if they are from the boogie down Bronx side of the Bronx, that they are okay with any type of mess that Diddy was into. Anyway, there was a social worker and a security guard. They work in child neglect cases, and they confirmed their ability to be impartial when it came to any instances of child neglect. Now, that's actually really, really interesting. Why would child neglect and your inability to be impartial, why would that make a difference? What did he do that would have anything to do with either children or perhaps it was pregnancy? I don't know, but that is really interesting. We have more. There's a kitchen designer from Yonkers. They said they saw some media coverage, but they were cleared by both sides, meaning neither side had an objection for them to move forward. There was a juror who watched the Cassie Hotel video. Now, that person that they watched it described Diddy as angry, hostile, and entitled. But then he went on to say, but I can be fair. The judge allowed him to remain. There was an engineer who heard producers' allegations on NPR. They mentioned hearing something about a male producer being forced into Smex by Diddy, but said he doesn't follow celebrity news. They also remained in the pool. If you guys don't know, that person is Little Rod. NPR did a write-up on it. He said he heard about Little Rod. If you guys don't know, Little Rod said that Young Miami and Diddy sat there while Young Miami's cousin sexually assaulted Little Rod by trying to give him sloppy toppy while everybody watched. And they said Little Rod actually hid in the bathroom. Actually, it's in the lawsuit, to make sure that he didn't get assaulted. There's a New York City transit worker, an MTA worker, right, that had multiple prior police encounters, including an assault charge later dropped. He acknowledged former bias, but said he could keep it fair. The judge denied prosecution's strike and kept him in. So again, there was a New York transit worker that said he had multiple prior police encounters. He even sued the police for assault, but he dropped that. And he said that he does have a bias against the police and feds. He thinks they're full of it. But he says he thought it could be fair. Prosecutions were like, no, get him out of here. And the judge was like, nine, he stays. If you guys don't know, usually in voir dire, the prosecutor and the defense attorney do the questionings and they strike people. In Southern District of New York, it's a little bit different. The prosecution defense can tell the judge things they want to ask the defendants, but the judge is the one that questions the judge is the one that questions the jurors, and the judge is the one that has final say on whether the juror can stay or go. There's more, y'all. There was an unnamed juror number 7. Now there are a bunch of jurors there's an unnamed juror number 7. They got to say. However, there are jurors that were also dismissed for cause or bias. Let's look at, there were 12 dismissed for bias, exposure, or conflict of interest, right? There was an attempted rape survivor and wrote Diddy could buy his way out of jail. He was dismissed. Again, they literally, she wrote that on her little juror, what do you call it? The juror notebook, the juror questionnaire. The thing is, some people might be like, why she say that? Because it is very, very important that every potential juror be 100% honest. They are going through your social media. They're going through your life. They're checking with everything. If they find out you lied, you could literally cost the trial. On top of that, there might be some type of penalty if it's so egregious. Anyway, there's a USA Today reader. They ignored the court order by reading news. That was struck for cause. Imagine getting kicked out of Diddy's trial for reading USA Today. I do want to say that Diddy's trial is going to be excellent, excellent, excellent. If you want, like, each juror could write a book and make a small fortune, make a big fortune. It could launch their career. So a lot of people want to be on this trial. There's an Ivory Coast war survivor. They have PTSD and inaccurate questionnaire responses. There's a marketing officer at a publishing house. The company releasing the company that is releasing the Albie Shore memoir allegedly involving Diddy. They're a marketing officer there. There's a woman that was a wife of a 1991 Stampede attorney. The husband represented victims in the deadly event Diddy helped organize, and had very, very negative opinions about Diddy. Isn't that crazy that Diddy is saying that he's so beloved and this is false? But isn't it crazy that even in a regular New York jury poll, there are so many people that have a negative opinion of him from things that happened 20 years ago? Anyway, there is a engineer's allegation reminder. It was not dismissed, but it was highlighted here for relevance. The judge saw no bias. That was an engineer before that said, like, he thinks Diddy is a POS, but he can be impartial. There's more. There's a scheduled conflict or life events. A freelancer who would lose income during trial. There's a graduation conflict. Someone needed time off for her son's graduation. Also mentioned a parody song about the trial. There's people that got excluded from medical or mental health. A Catholic woman with anxiety, guilt, anxiety, and frequent bathroom breaks required. There's a Crohn's disease juror dismissed for cause due to medical limitations. There's a juror who can't discuss sexual content, claims she couldn't discuss sex-related topics at all. She was dismissed. Substance abuse. There's a Bronx landlord who regularly smokes weed and said he couldn't abstain from that. Still under review or contestant, there is a juror with reading difficulties. They struggle with difficult words. Now, here's the thing. The court said, okay, we're not going to strike them for that, but we'll hold them on the maybe list, okay? There is also... that's about it. Listen, first of all, we want to give a shout out to Justin. There's a shout out to, hold on, y'all, to Justin, the Nick of Crime. Shout out to them for actually doing the work and taking notes about what happened in there. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, Justin, the Nick of Crime, Justin, the Nick of Crime. Make sure you give them a shout out and follow them. Anyway, you guys, as we get more information on how this jury is shaping up, we will be sure to bring it out back to you. But for now, baby, you know your girl is going to be covering this on the 12th. The Super Bowl is coming up. We are going to have a week of recap. I'm going to be going live every day and talking about what the jury discovered and didn't discover. I will see y'all soon. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.